Okay guys, here we are. Just to give you an example of my typical hiking setup. Just sitting up and got everything here. Had a chance to get my shoes off, get my flip-flops on and relaxing. Just to show you what's in the pack and everything we got here. GPS gives you an idea of where we're going. Temperature sensor, awesome idea to give you an idea of exactly what temperatures and around that you're camping in. Just general useful information. Always important to have paper maps, notebook, compass, a couple of pencils. So mark down the coordinates of where we are at every stop. I'm just going to unpack everything in the bag to give you a typical idea of what we camp with. Game, energy drink, basically flavoured sugar water. Knife, fork and spoon, always useful. Gotta have them, and this is very good. Oh, hang on, a little bit of chasing away here. Oh. Might have to just edit that out quickly. Yeah, so cooking, knife, fork and spoon. Can't always use that. Pop that in there for now. Let's get it all out. Top here, camera, Canon PowerShot 740, which has got a really huge zoom. Very, very useful. Garmin Montana, the 700i, gives you the inReach capability for satellite communication. Really, really useful, mostly because people can see where you're coming out. This is a little tiny first aid kit, easy to get to for pain relief. So ibuprofen for muscles, paracetamol for general pain relief, and then I've got a nice codeine mix that I've got there, codeine and microdol, codeine and paracetamol and ibuprofen for extreme pain. Power bank keeps all the electronics alive, solar powered, 4 cells. Every stop leave this in the sun, facing the sunlight. It's only 8,000 milliamps, but this has kept me going for a long time. Head torch, this thing's a magical, yeah, can't say enough about it, really powerful. And so if you need that spotlight, this one does the job really, really well. Hydration. I found these 1.5 litre recyclable Coke bottles with a little adapter, so you've got that as your tube drinking water. There's a name for it, like a bladder type concept. So I've got that. I'm going to keep that aside because I'm going to get a boil on while we're here. The difference between campers, so I like to think of myself as the chairman. So you've got a chair. This one's great. You've got a ground sheet. If you are in sandy conditions, you know, you can set your stand up, the chair up on the sand, and it won't sink in. I find that phenomenal. Really, really useful. Also, if you're on slippery conditions, the legs don't splay out and cause it to break the legs. Lots of different chairs options available. Bottom line is no plastic on this one. It's all metal. So your joints here are particularly rigid, which is great in terms of longevity. This one weighs just under a kilo, and in reality you're better off with your much lighter ones. The Hyenas, for example, comes in at 600 and something grams. Now, quite frankly, that is the way forward. It's just the price is quite a bitter one to swallow for an extra saving of 400 grams of weight. So for me, that thing is pretty awesome. I'm in the tent here. It's looking overcast. It's about to rain, but yeah, you can see you got your. I can get in there quite merrily. Yeah, inside the tent with my chair. I think when you're hiking, it's good to be able to get off the ground, get the legs a little bit more, get the legs straighter, which this chair certainly allows you to do. So for me, that's quite a winner. Clinky clinkies, gotta have the clinky clinking. This is a brew spoon, a massive coffee fan, and this thing is the lightest way of getting you a decent filter coffee. Always hooked inside here, stops it getting destroyed when it's inside my coffee pot. I will get a brew going on at some stage or another. Carabiners useful. Plasters and feet, so blister plasters, Lamisil once if you've got any athlete's foot going on, and just general plasters, easy at hand without having to break into the full first aid kit. And my rucksack raincoat, gotta have that one. Osprey bags, pretty good, a little bit heavy, very comfortable, and carries a heavy load. Now in reality my pack is too heavy. I generally do carry a heavier pack, and this does it really well. I've done over 600 kilometers with this over the last couple of years, and always with close to 30 kilos, which is 60 odd pounds. Yeah, 60 odd pound pack. Inflatable mattress sleeping on. To be honest with you, I cannot believe I haven't had a puncture of this yet. Just a question of time. This one apparently is insulated, and I've not had any issues yet. I wouldn't really give it an R rating, but for African conditions, other than the thorns, this is brilliant. I do also have and use those closed cell foam mats. Those are brilliant. They certainly do keep, they don't deflate when you get thorns in them. My first aid kit. In reality, if you have an incident where you need a first aid, then you're going to get to a situation where everybody pulls their first aid kit together and you go for it. But that aside, for me, splints, most important thing. A lot of bandages, more painkillers, first aid cheat sheet. When you're panicking, you might forget some of the stuff that you're out there. Again, specific to South African first aid conditions, or African first aid conditions rather, we've got your snake bite bandage. Basically you stretch this up until these rectangular markers become square, and you just wrap the limb upwards. It's probably going to be a foot or an arm that you get bitten by, and you wrap those upwards with your snake bite bandage. Other than that, lots of crate bandages, plasters. That's my normal first aid kit. Imodium, hiker's favourite. You've realistically got to carry Imodium with you, because nothing ruins a hike more than if you didn't have Imodium and you needed Imodium. Personal viewpoints. Sea to summit pocket shower. Again, African conditions, hang this up in a tree, throw some water in it, a litre of boiling water if you're feeling a little bit luxurious, and you've got yourself a shower in the bush. Really important and useful. Okay, funky new one. This is a fire pit. You've got a wire mesh here. So that's stainless steel mesh. I'm guessing it's stainless steel, but it's a mesh. And then you've got all these little leggies here. This thing's a pain to put together, but you've got this that you put your mesh on top of, and then you put your fire on top of this. Now, if we are going to be having a fire in the bush, and most of the time we're not going to be, if we're camping on foot, we're not going to be cooking on that fire, and you create a lot of damage to the ground. So any fires that we make in the bush, we've got to rehabilitate the ground afterwards before we leave. Part of that zero trace. Great thing in Africa is that we have elephants, and they leave large deposits of basically everything you need to rehabilitate the ground. So you mix your fire with water, or it remains the fire with water until it's pretty much non-visibly used as a fireplace, and then you dig in some elephant dung with it and you reeve it as it is, and that way your fire, which destroys all the nutrients of the ground, will then come back to a situation where it's usable again. But this, build a fire on top of there, the ashes fall through, that's not a problem. You've got much less of a fire hazard, and being exposed in the air, it all burns off overnight. So personally I think this is a brilliant idea, and used it once, not this one, a friend used one, and I thought, you know what, winner chicken dinner. When I'm hiking, peaceful sleep and tabard. Use this on the legs, it helps with the ticks a little bit. The piece will slip with these little tiny black flies that fly around. Really, really good. Steel shank, solid shank knife. Really important to have one. I find that if you're in hard ground, it helps to get the tent pegs in. Really, really useful. What we've got here is a toilet kit, tiny little spade, lighter, toilet paper. Also carry some wax-proof paper, wax-lined paper inside here as well. So if you're not in an area where you can burn the toilet paper inside the hole you've dug because of a fire hazard, you can put the paper inside that brown paper bag and carry it out with you to wherever it is safe to then burn it appropriately. Fantastic sleeping bag. This is your Cumulus X-Lite 300 from Poland. Just the best thing since sliced bread. I've had it down camping to, we got the temperature at 5 degrees centigrade, and in Johannesburg when it snowed I had it at -2, and do you know what, this was magical. I'm really, really stoked to that. So it is a mummy sleeping bag, and if you cross your ankles over you can find there's a little bit more room inside there. We've got here your water hydration kit. I will tag on or maybe include a video inside there. So everything I need to get water filtered I've got inside here. So your Soya Flow water filter, 0. Whatever it is microns, I don't know the technical side of this, but I've used this on the Fish River Canyon, I've used it on the Otter Trail, I've used it on the full length of the Kruger Trail, I've used it on Table Mountain, I've used it in East Africa, and to date I've never had an issue with water that I've drunk out of this. So for me, the way that they Soya want you to use it is a frustration, very slow. So I managed to get myself a water bladder. This thing holds about 7 litres of water, 8 litres of water. Plug this on the bottom, fill it up with water, and you can carry that from your water source to wherever it is that you're camping. And you've now got a gravity feed water filter, which is phenomenal. And these connections are brilliant in that on my bladder here, once you've done all the water, you can plug it into your bladder overnight inside your pack, and it will fill up your water bladder without any spillage. And once the water bladder is full, you don't have to worry about all the water leaking out, and after breakfast you can then top up and do another fill, so you can get going with a full load of water in the mornings. 3 litre pack water bladder, I fill it to 2 litres, so there's a lot of squidge space inside the rucksack when it's nice and tight. So I carried 2 litres in the back of here, 1.5 on either side. That's 5 litres of water, maybe a little bit more than 5 litres of water if we're being brutally honest. Cooking, I have got a silicone bag, so take your cooking stuff, put it inside here, whatever you're rehydrating, fill it up with the boiling water, allow it to rehydrate. You then, once it's rehydrated, here we go. This is a fire maple heat exchange pot. These heat exchangers make a massive difference. They give you a little bit of wind resistance, but they boil water a lot quicker. I've done a variety of tests and I'll sort of read out the results from that, but these things are magical. This one is 1 litre. So once you've rehydrated your food, you stick your silicone pot inside here, your meal inside there, top it up with water on the outside, and you cook your meal, or you reheat this up again, and your meal is then cooked and ready. Plus the water you've got inside there you can use for making coffee. These 100-gram canisters, they're pretty cool. I say on an average hike I've been using about 110 grams. Because I do a lot of cooking, if I'm honest with you, I cook a little bit more than I need to, but I come out here to enjoy things and not necessarily to scrimp and save as much as possible on the amount of weight I'm going. So if I'm going to be in the bush, I want to have my coffee at breakfast, I want to have my coffee when I wake up in the morning, one at lunchtime, one in the evening, hot chocolate, you know. So I'm boiling a good 6 litres a day on average, and this I've been walking with two 30 grams, and I'm always coming back with over 100 grams inside the cylinder. Pot stabilizer, soft sandy conditions, it helps to make stuff not go wrong badly. Got to keep your pots and pans clean. When you've got water in the rivers, you can use the sandy water in the river as a scouring pad. That just helps tidy things up. The BRS 3000 stove, this thing is dinky. It is ridiculously small. That's your typical cigarette lighter. There's obviously no piezo ignition in this one. I had initially thought I'd use this as a backup stove just in case mine went down. Again, not using the top of the range slow stoves, you kind of have to be careful about it. But there you have it. This thing weighs 26 grams. It is absolutely nothing, and it has been my prime stove for the last 250 kilometers. The reality is this thing is very noisy. It kicks off a lot of heat, and if you turn that down a lot, you don't notice any difference on your cooking time, but it does give you save a lot of gas. It's a hell of a powerful little thing. Lid to that one. I bought a titanium stove set, and this is the frying pan section of it. It weighs absolutely nothing, and yeah, this has been very useful. So for a typical meal, I will make my soup or my porridge inside here, and I only use this for boiling water. So that's the cooking side of life. Sporks, always have the 2 sporks. Onto your main meals. I'm not going to get the whole lot out, but I've been using Forever Fresh as a freeze-dried meal. There's a load of them that are available. These guys are pretty good. I can't say anything about the meal. It's actually very tasty. I think they got the recipe right, spot on in terms of saline, or salt rather. I tend to add a little bit of salt to my food, generally because we're walking in 30 degrees heat, carrying over 20 kilos of gear, and we're doing about 16-20 kilometers a day. So it's hot, it's hard work, you're sweating a lot, and just adding a bit of salt in helps to replenish your nutrients. They also do a range of sides and main meals, so yeah, I'm quite a big fan of these guys. There's a load of different options out there, each with their pros and cons, and to be fair, Forever Fresh are probably the most expensive going. Lunchtime, I'll probably have half a packet of couscous. I'll mix it with a sauce. Knorr sauces are brilliant. Snacks, you've got little snacks like these. It's a little bit on the heavy side for raw fruit and nut bars. Lots of nutrients, again, wonderful stuff. Noodles, not a fan. They're a great transmission of nutrients into you, so that's quite good. Oats, you've got to love straightforward oats to boil in the morning. That's just general meals. I think that's clothes. I haven't finished yet. Yeah, there's more clothes. Here's my chest of drawers for my clothes. And I think I've got all my electrics in here as well. What have we got going on in here? Talcum powder. Got to look after the feet. Salt and pepper, sunblock, and my electronics. Oh no, that's not my electronic bag. I've got inside here spare CR2032 batteries, tape, needle, dental floss, again for sewing repairs. Fantastic stuff. Really good stuff that is actually. Your mesh grocery bags. These things are phenomenal. So yeah, my dirty clothes, once I finish with them, I'll put them inside here. I walk with 2 pairs of socks, and each day the outer sock will be put aside and washed. The inner sock then becomes an outer sock, and a new sock goes on underneath. So for a 6-day hike, I only need to carry 5 pairs of socks, and that covers me for a new pair of socks every morning. Combination of lightweight and heavyweight socks. I have no idea about these. Actually have been pretty good recently. No idea what brand they are, but they've been a very good sock for me. I've had socks that have lasted me a long time, woolen socks. I've gone through the whole ropes. Quite frankly, about the best sock I've come across is these Falca socks. Lightweight, so very, very thin up here, but nice and padded on your foot and your heel. So I'm a massive fan of these socks. They are left and right, which when you're getting going before dawn in the morning is a bit of a frustration, but they work like a charm. I hike with 2 shirts. I'm wearing 1 shirt and I've got a spare long sleeve shirt in the bag. These shirts are great in terms of you can wash them and they dry pretty much by the time lunchtime, so they're great. A couple of pairs of underpants. Again, I've got 3 pairs of underpants. If you wash them on day 1, by the time you got to the 3rd day, they're clean. I wear long johns in my sleeping bag. This is more because I want to look after the inside of the sleeping bag than for the temperature side. It also stops skin on skin, so long johns work for me. This is my fleece. It's a crushed type of fleece. I have no idea what you call this. I'm not a fan of the camouflage, to be brutally honest with you. Love the jersey, and this thing keeps me warm at night. I've got a lighter towel, but I kind of like this, and it's a bit of a nod to a guy I've got a massive amount of respect for, and I'd like to emulate him a lot. Love to be where he is in his side of life, and when I'm his age, love to be doing what he's doing. So yeah, the Ordnance Survey map of Snowdon. Get to use it there. Speedo. Yeah, that's pretty much it from me. Oh yeah, hiking boots. Not a fan of Vibram. I've got to confess to you, Vibram does not last particularly well. It transfers the heat. These, yeah, I'm not a fan. They've got a new pair of boots coming up. These are Gym Greens. I bought them on a Wednesday, and 3 days later I was descending into the Fish River Canyon, having driven up from Cape Town. I didn't have a single blister, not a single issue in the world, so I think these things are actually amazing boots. They're a little bit on the heavy side, tough as hell. These things have done nearly 1,000 kilometers off trail carrying a pack. That excludes anything I've done walk around to and from. That's just log kilometers, and you know what, they're in good nick, but they've seen their end. The footbed, those things, I've had it. The footbed inside here has become compacted, and you're just transferring energy straight through. There's no resistance in here at all. There's no sponge. So those have had their day, and next pair of shoes is coming. Gaiters. This is not snake bite protection as everybody has you believe, but realistically this stops for sand from getting into the top of your boots, protects your sock from grass burrs, and they're magical. I wouldn't hike without them. They're really good. In wetter conditions or cooler conditions, I'll wear full length ones, which you can roll down as well. So yeah, that's it from me. I think I've got everything in here. I'm just going to get a brew on and get going. Cheers guys.